There are some things that are so indestructible, they can't even be damaged by a hurricane. Wait until you see the Texan house that was able to stand alone in the midst of the Hurricane Ike destruction in 2008. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss a video. And don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. Today we're discussing things hurricanes cannot destroy. Houston highways. Hurricanes can range from having a minor or a severe impact on the city, depending on the location and other elements. And although there are ways to prepare for the impact of a hurricane, you never know the damage and the severity it will have on your immediate area. On August 25, 2017, Houston was hit by a Category 4 hurricane called Harvey. A Category 4 hurricane is known to cause significant damage to properties, animals, and of course people. Damage to large structures can be expected, along with power outages and water shortages that can last from a few weeks to a few months. While many properties did not manage to survive Harvey's impact, there is a structure that managed to stay unharmed. The design of the Houston highways survived. And even though the roads were completely submerged in water as the hurricane continued to destroy the city, you can check out pictures of the Interstate 10 as it turned into an ocean, but you can see that the structure remained intact. As the hurricane made its way through the area and flooded the highways as well as the rest of the city, the highways survived the damage. As of September 2017, the city is now recovering from the severe damage and mourning the lives that were lost to Hurricane Harvey. Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital. In the case of a hurricane, hospitals have a hard job when it comes to keeping all their patients safe, while making sure they're also receiving everything they need to recover. After Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital was hit by Hurricane Katrina in 2005, it took an innovative approach to prepare for any future disasters that might take place, and made sure its patients can be safe at all times. In 2013, the city introduced a brand new building that looks completely prepared for climate change and hurricanes. To start it off, the design of the building makes sure that all primary electrical services are located on the rooftop, to make sure the building's electricity does not get affected by the floods. The electricity itself is powered by a fuel pump, which is secured by a flood-proof vault. The actual ground floor is elevated by 2.5 feet, which protects the hospital from any potential flooding. Even the outside of the place has landscape walls, which act like a reef in the event of a storm. All of these precautions ensure that the building can still function, and the patients can still be taken care of during a natural disaster. The building looks pretty solid and definitely ready to protect itself and its patients during a hurricane. Seems like the Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital truly is safe and ready for hurricanes. This ferry. We often see the shocking aftermath of cities being hit by a high-level hurricane. Many of the buildings end up completely destroyed or flooded, and the damage can cost the city billions of dollars. But sometimes, depending on the circumstances, larger ships and boats can survive natural disasters. When northern Japan was hit by a tsunami following an earthquake in 2011, it left one of the most devastating damages on the seaside cities. With many buildings that ended up being destroyed, it's hard to believe that this ferry remained completely undisturbed. Even though it's positioned on top of a building and clearly went through some damage, you can clearly see the table and chairs on the deck being completely intact. Boats are very much at nature's mercy when coming in contact with strong weather conditions. But this ferry was able to survive the damages of a strong earthquake along with a tsunami following afterward. While many smaller and weaker boats and ships aren't as lucky when it comes to natural disasters, large ferries and cruise ships can definitely survive a tsunami, especially if they're docked and tied with extra strong materials. While the strong waves could potentially knock the ship against the pier, the ship's structure would most likely survive the hurricane's impact. Of course, this also depends on the severity of the tsunami, as well as the position of the ship itself. Sir Richard Branson. Although he's definitely not indestructible like some of the houses and other buildings we're mentioning in this video, it's worthy to mention how the business tycoon survived the 2017 Hurricane Irma as it made its way across the Caribbean and Florida. At the time of the hurricane, Sir Richard Branson was located on his private island in the Caribbean. Despite knowing that the hurricane will directly impact the island and the surrounding area, the businessman decided to stay put with his family. Knowing they will most likely stay unharmed there, the family spent the night in their wine cellar, where they experienced a night of howling wind and rain. Although he considered this to be a fun sleepover, it's safe to say that the somewhat indestructible Sir Richard Branson could face a different fate had it not been for the sturdy wine cellar, which, in his words, would be running out of wine by the time the storm would subside. Although the rest of his private island was pretty much destroyed by the hurricane, the wine cellar remained intact. It's important to note that this is not always the case when it comes to wine cellars. as they could be the victims of potential flooding with no escape. Sir Richard Branson might be an indestructible business tycoon, but we have to admit he was pretty lucky in this situation. This standalone house. No, this is not a Photoshop, but we can assume that these houses got extremely lucky when it came to avoiding potential hurricane disasters. One such was this lucky house that survived the rage of the 2008 Hurricane Ike, which destroyed a large portion of southeast Texas and caused $37.6 billion worth of damage. Soon after, the incredible images of the last house standing went viral. The house is seen built at a higher level, but there is a good reason behind it. The people who lived here have already faced a natural disaster that cost them their previous home. The owners of the house, Warren and Pam Adams, previously lost a home on the same lot to the 2005 Hurricane Rita. The home was then completely rebuilt, but nothing could prepare them for the destructive forces of Hurricane Ike just 3 years later. While their home, along with a couple of other ones, looked completely intact and unaffected by the hurricane, the couple reported that it's not inhabitable as the flood damaged most of the rooms along with the appliances. Even though the house was built 22 feet above the normal sea level, the flood still managed to completely destroy the interior. But although the hurricane damaged the interior of the house, it is still extraordinary that the exterior remained completely intact. And that's it for 10 things hurricanes cannot destroy. For more videos like this one, check out